Hey chums, welcome back to Again with Chums Podcast. I am your host, the wonderful Paulus, and with me is my always faithful lackey, hanger-on, and sidekick, the beautiful, bespectacled, long-haired Mr. Roars. Mr. Roars, how you been? What you've been playing? What you've been doing with your life? Because we haven't recorded the podcast in a while. I think we've left it for like 4 weeks.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while. Obviously, life has happened. Everything opening up. So things outside our little bubble has taken precedence. But anyway, yeah, what have you been up to this past few weeks, man? Tell us.
Well, I mean, we haven't done the podcast in a while, which until recently was the only time we saw each other. But we've actually seen each other face to face recently, which is nice.
Yeah, but no touching.
No touching.
No touching. No. I know you wanted to hold my hand, but I said, Mr. Roars.
Like the Beatles song.
Yeah, but yeah, we met up with around our ex-chum Dan, his new flat in somewhere in London. We all met up, had a few drinks, and played.
Went and saw his ginormous PS5.
It's huge.
It's so big.
It's fucking massive, man.
The first time either me or Paul had seen a PS5 in real life.
Yeah,
and it's even bigger than I thought it was. It's so big.
Yeah,
it's like unbelievable.
I underestimated the size of it. Yeah, I heard about I heard about the length and stuff. So I had a picture in my head, but when you actually see it, it's like wow, it's
really chunky,
chunky monkey. But
controller's pretty cool though.
I like the controller.
Dual sense, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, yeah. What did we play? Didn't play anything new. I think I just
tried a little bit of Astrobot.
I played some Apex. We played.
Yeah, you had a go of Apex, which I don't think has any enhancements, so it's no different.
It's just
any other version.
I managed to get some points and rank up for Dan's character, so that was good.
Unlocked a champion for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, what have we been doing? Well, I sort of went on a short holiday for a while, which is partly why there was no podcast. I went down to Devon for sort of 5-6 days, which was lovely. And went and sat on the beach one day and it was just too hot. It was like 32 degrees, direct sun, not a cloud in the sky, and it was just baking. But yeah, it was very nice, refreshing little break. Also saw another old friend of ours that I don't think we've ever mentioned before. Guy we used to hang out with from Cornwall called Jay. Went and saw him one of the days, which was nice. I hadn't seen him in probably about a decade.
He was living in New Zealand. He was living in New Zealand for a few years, wasn't he? So
about 8 years. Yeah.
8 years.
So yeah, I hadn't seen him in a while. So that was nice. Little breakaway. Got to see an old mate. Other than that, not much really. Just sort of playing the odd video game, watching anime, usual stuff really. Yeah. How about you? What have you been up to?
Yeah,
watching the Euros too.
The Euros has been on. So we've been watching that. It's been a good Euros, I think. A lot of surprise results in there. I always maintain that Euros is harder than the World Cup because, especially the old format, the teams you get in Euros are high, obviously a higher quality than a lot of the teams you get around the world. Obviously, you got Brazil and Argentina spring to mind are like really strong teams outside of Europe, but yeah, you get the odd surprise, especially like you get the odd surprise like Japan and South Korea sometimes do well because of their determination and athleticism. And obviously you got the teams from Africa. You always get that one team. Normally it's the Ivory Coast because they've got a lot of Premier League players in their squad, so they do quite well. But I think the Euros is harder because especially the old format was lesser teams, so the groups were a lot harder. But this year they let practically nearly everyone could have qualified for the Euros, apart from Republic of Ireland and Northern
Honestly,
Ireland.
I quite like the wider format with more teams in it, just because it lasts longer.
Yeah, but you get a lot of dull.
You do get the odd filler match, but
yeah, I think like they're just there to make up the numbers or just there to get spanked. But saying that, there has been some surprises. So, yeah, that's been good. Besides football, I've been doing the podcast. been streaming on our Twitch channel. I streamed the E3 event, which we'll get into.
Which I did watch. I caught up on that after the fact.
I streamed the Xbox one. I didn't stream any other ones. It's just that Xbox one. But and I've been playing, obviously, doing the full Let's Play of Mass Effect. Going through that very slowly. I find like I'm playing like I tend to do a lot of side quests before I hit the main worlds. You do all the side quests in space and on the other parts of the map, and then
the uncharted worlds.
Yeah. Then you head back to the Citadel to finish a lot of those quests and pick up more. And then I normally do a planet, finish that, do all the side quests there, and then like before I go over to the next planet. So I normally do it. I leave Novaria to the last. So what's the one before that? Is it Ferros?
Ferros, yeah. Therum, Ferros, Novaria.
Yeah. So I do it in that order. I always get to Sony first. But I've been streaming that. Obviously Apex, but with Apex I've been getting a bit burnt out with it. So I've been playing it less. I don't stream it as much, and I don't play it as much as I in my spare time. But yeah, what else I've been? Oh yeah, yesterday, as part of my birthday, because it was my birthday last week.
Happy birthday!
Thank you very much. And Mr. Ross and a few other people gave me presents. I still haven't got anything from Dan, which I'm a bit annoyed about. So it's Dan, if you listen, because I do know you listen, we'll get on it, man. Sort it.
Pull your finger out, Dan.
Pull your finger out your ass. I know you bought a new place, but come on, man.
He's just bought a PS5. He's got to pay that off first before he can buy you a present.
Exactly. He got that. Didn't he get that for his birthday? Wasn't it like yeah. So he could get a PS5, and Sweet Paulus here gets nothing, So
not even a card.
Not even a card, man. Yesterday I had a very enjoyable. It was part of my sort of birthday thing, because we were meant to go to karaoke on my birthday. I took the day off, but the place turns out wasn't open, so we pushed it back to the Saturday. So there's a place up in Kennington, Vauxhall area. It's a Korean,
lovely place.
Yeah, I mean the part this part is like near the Thames, so it's the built up part. So because when you go to Stockwell and then you go through up the road, and you got the little Portugal there. If you carry on straight there for like 5 minutes, it's around that area, and it's a lot of building work going on there. It's like they're building all these tower blocks that no one can afford apart from rich Arabs and wealthy Chinese people. Like Londoners and normal people can't afford that, even if you're on a good salary. So a lot of the time they're just building and no one's living in them. A lot of people, a lot of overseas investors, buyers just buy it for a holiday home.
Yeah.
Which is annoying. That we always talk about housing shortage in London, but they're building all the time. It's just that it's very hard
for us.
Yeah, it's very hard for someone to afford to buy unless you buy with another person or you take out a massive loan or something. It's just not affordable. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, went to karaoke, sang some songs, had some Korean food there because it's like a restaurant as well, which is a good thing. They don't charge you. We went for 2 hours, but we also had food, but they don't start the counter until you finish your food. So you still get your 2 hours. The food doesn't eat into that, which is pretty cool. So I had some beers, sang some songs. Then me and my sister decided, it's a nice day. Let's walk back. So we walked all the way back from Kennington back to where I live. And then, but the thing is, we were walking back, like they were heading towards Brixton. But my sister's like, if you take this shortcut, it will take you to Herne Hill. People don't, unless you live in London, you don't know what I'm talking with, specifically South London, you don't know what we're talking about. But I was like, okay then. I was like, you sure? She was like, yeah, it's fine. We took the shortcut, and I was like, man, where are we? And I was like, oh man, it's not like we were lost per se, but we were just like, we should have hit Herne Hill by now. But then we carried on walking. I was like, Denmark Road, where does that sound familiar? I was like, we're in bloody Camberwell, which is like it's like pretty much heading straight back to where we were. I was like, oh man. So we walked back that way, and it was just like a longer way. So no shortcuts from now, especially from my
Long
sister.
cuts.
Yeah, but when we did get to Herne Hill, I messaged everyone on our WhatsApp group about.
Made me very, very upset.
Found the koi ramen place, but there's one in Brixton that we normally go to, but now there's one in Herne Hill, which is round the arches. There's like, do you know Herne Hill? Kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got Brockwell Park, and then opposite that you got like the train lines, and you got the
Yeah.
arches there. Just that's where it is, and it's very easy. Like if my sister didn't say, "Oh, I know where it's over here," because she's been there before, I wouldn't know where it is, because I actually walked past it. She's like, "Oh, it's up there." I was like, "Where? How do you know?" It's just this small sign saying koi ramen up here. I was like, "Oh." It's basically the same price. It's about £7-8 for the ramen. Obviously, I got the tofu ramen, so it was like £7.50, and a beer for like £3.50. So it was like £11 in total. And
it's damn good ramen as well.
It's damn good. But
what was the one we went to in Asakusa when we were in Japan? The one we went downstairs to. It's like quite a well-known one. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh yeah. We went there with like Nikki was having trouble with the self-service ticket thing.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but there was loads of queue. She was holding up the queue as well. It was just like, oh god, this guy Jin's holding up the queue.
But yeah, that's like the place everyone says, oh, you got to go to this one. I think it's like a small chain, a very small chain.
Yeah,
and I can't remember what it's called.
It's very small inside.
Like down the stairs, and it's like in a basement. But like the koi ramen in Pop Brixton is like as good as that, if you ask me.
Yeah.
We were sitting there eating that in Asakusa. I was like, koi ramen is as good as this. I mean, this is good, but so is koi.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, if you're ever in Brixton, go to Pop Brixton and get some koi ramen. Or if you're in Herne Hill, obviously.
This place is run by Japanese people, so that's probably why they came over here. They were like, we're expanding our business.
Really good tonkatsu ramen.
Yeah, they're probably like, you got to go and live in England now. And the guy's like, oh man, shit.
I don't want to go there. It's for the gaijin.
But other than that, yeah, that's what I've been getting lost in South London and stumbling upon ramen places, singing karaoke. This is all good, man. My feet
Sounds were killing me. Day.
My feet were killing me. My legs were killing me when I got home. But yeah, it was fun, man. It's fun. I was thinking to myself, man, this would be so good with the guys, like with the as a drunken posse, as we like to refer to ourselves. Once like everyone's fully vaccinated and everything, like I was pretty much thinking August we should be back to some sort of relative normalcy. We should all gather. We should all go to the Korean place, have some drinks.
It's been too damn long.
We have go to ramen after.
Yeah, we have kind of organized a little outing for mid-August, like when we were around Dan's the other week, because there's a sake bar in Peckham, Kampai. So we're going to hopefully check that out mid-August. So we might even do a video of it. So
yeah, we will. It will
check
definitely
out our
be
YouTube.
It will definitely be. We'll definitely do a video of our visit.
Hopefully we can actually get a table. Otherwise there'll be no video.
It's the first come first serve, isn't it? You don't book the table, I think.
No, I had a look. You can't book it.
Yeah, so if we go there,
fingers crossed.
If we go there relatively when they open, basically, just
knocking on the door at 9 a.m. Let us in. We want sake.
Let us in.
It's been a year and a half.
Yeah. So we'll hopefully do a video, and that will go up on our YouTube channel, because our sort of live videos always do much better than our.
Nobody wants to watch us badly play video games.
Yeah, but that's something to look forward to. We'll be doing a lot more videos outside, and once everything opens up and we're allowed to hang out with thousands of people. But
well, like the football is right now.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So before we get into the news, have you got a light refreshment there, Mr. Ross?
I haven't today, unfortunately.
You're letting the side down, Mr. Ross.
I know. Yeah. It's like our whole motto just means nothing to me anymore.
What's our motto? What's on every bit of branding we have? We drink beer and play video games. I have not let the side down. As you can see, if it doesn't flicker in and out. There you go. Look, it's like a ghost thing.
Some pretty cool CGI going on there.
Yeah, nothing but the
visual
best.
effects.
I'm drinking a nice. It's not really cold. It's like sort of, it's just a bit, not even chilled, because I just put it in the fridge like about an hour and a half ago, so it's not cold. I should put it one in the freezer, but didn't think about that.
I did that yesterday for the England game. Got a big bottle of like those large, like 600ml bottles of Stella. All right, that's going in the freezer.
Oh man,
good.
Yeah, I'll go back to what I did yesterday. They had like Kirin beer and stuff there. I was like, oh, I drank enough Asahi. I was like, I really fancy a Kirin, so I got ice cold Kirins. It's like, oh, it's like cold. Give me another. But yeah, like yeah. So I'm drinking a coldish beer, but let's talk about news, Mr. Royals. What has been happening in the world of gaming and world of everything, like in general? Like what's been happening?
Well, Sony have bought a couple of studios.
Yeah, like talk to me about this, like, because to be honest, when you told me, I was like, oh yeah.
I have a vague recollection.
Oh yeah. So who's been bought?
Well, the first one was Housemarque, which is kind of not surprising in the least. They've worked with Sony for years.
But why can't Sony like make their own studios? Why do they have to build pre-established studios? That's so unfair. Sorry,
they're not growing organically.
No.
But yeah, Housemarque is kind of a similar situation to like Insomniac, but even more so. Almost everything they've done really has been with Sony, and the last thing they put out was Returnal, which was a fairly big PS5 exclusive. And I don't know, I get the feeling that was maybe sort of contingent on like how the game turned out, because it's like it's been out a couple of weeks and then they're like, right, we're buying you. And yeah, apparently it's a good game. I won't know, don't have a PS5, and I don't think I want to pay 70 quid for games even if I did get one. But yeah, that one makes a lot of sense. I don't think anyone can be upset about that. And the other one is the complete opposite, came completely out of left field. The other one is Nixis, which are a team in Holland who do a lot of porting work. And like they've done a load of ports for Square Enix, like stuff like Deus Ex games, I think, and the new Tomb Raider trilogy. They handled like some of the ports to like other platforms. They like those games launched on like the first Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider at least launched on like 5 platforms. So obviously someone has to develop those other ports. So they were doing stuff like that, and they're quite proficient at like PC stuff. So people are kind of taking this one as a sign that maybe more PlayStation stuff is going to come to PC. And it makes sense to pick them up if that's the case, like to have their own in-house team that can sort of port their first-party games over to PC. Then it makes sense. So.
Well, do you reckon?
But yeah, it's not one anyone would have ever guessed. Like you see, like people discussing acquisitions for all the first parties and stuff on like places like Reset Era. Nixis isn't one that's ever come up for anyone, so it kind of came out of nowhere.
Do you reckon Sony, like, people like a bit, well, a lot of them don't want it to go to PC, but they say if it does, Sony should have their own store, sort of like a rival to Steam. What do you think about that? I don't see that happening. Like, Steam is just too big. They basically got a monopoly on like games on PC. I don't think they could have their own store. I mean, there'd be an option. You could have your store, but they can also still be released on Steam. But it sort of makes that a bit superfluous, really.
Well, I think the thing with Steam is the fact that how broad it is. Like pretty much every game that comes to PC is sold through Steam, and the only way Sony would really, it would be worth their while to have and maintain their own store is if they were also selling third-party games, and so they'd have to entice third parties to release on their PC store as well. And they're already releasing stuff on Steam. Some of them are moving to releasing stuff on Epic as well. So they're probably not going to be that interested in putting stuff on like a Sony store when they've already got one very strong option and another one that's kind of spending money to get strong. And like you can look at the Windows Store as well. A lot of stuff skips that because people look at it and go, well, that's for Game Pass and that's for Microsoft's own stuff. And I don't think many people are really going to be buying third-party stuff on that. And it's hard to come into being a PC storefront against an incumbent like Steam because, like I say, everyone's putting their games on there. You're gonna have to give someone like consumers some incentive to buy that third-party game on your store over Steam. And I just don't really see it. Like a store that only sells like PlayStation's first-party stuff. I mean, what would there be, like 3 releases a year, maybe? I don't really see that being in Sony's. I don't see it being worthwhile to Sony to build and maintain that if it's getting like sort of 3 to 5 games a year. So unless they were going to start bidding for third-party stuff on their store, I don't really see it. But putting stuff on Steam, and I mean, obviously you lose 30% of your revenue to Steam and 12% on Epic, but you're still making like 70% more through Steam than you would if you didn't sell the game on PC at all. So putting it on Steam seems the easiest option, really.
Cool. Right. And what the next piece of news, which it's a controversial hot topic, is Hideo Kojima apparently is going to make a game for Xbox, exclusive game, his next upcoming game. There's been talks, there's been rumors flying around the internet about his next game coming exclusively to Xbox, which has got fans excited, but it's got a lot of other fans really annoyed and really angry, starting petitions and stuff.
That petition was amazing, though.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, there was a petition that you found and you sent to me, which was to stop Kojima releasing a game on the Xbox platform. I saw it and it only needed 100 signatures, so it's not. And the time I saw it, it had already had 30, and I was reading some of the comments, and obviously it's a lot of basically it's all Sony fanboys, and a lot of them were saying like, I have a comment here, I think you showed it to me, so if I read that out, I can get a gauge of what this what
go through and look at some of the choice replies.
Like, bots don't love Kojima-san like we do on PlayStation Army. They don't deserve to enjoy the greatness of Kojima on that filthy box. Please, Kojima, come back home where you belong. Remember, you are family. So that's just one of the comments there.
I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is the level of discourse in our preferred hobby.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. For one thing, let's talk about this rumor, and it's been circling for a while. I mean, I heard about it like a few weeks ago about it was possibly, and there was a rumor of an announcement.
Longer than that.
There was a rumor of there might have been an announcement or something like that Kojima was his next game's gonna be Xbox exclusive, and because there was like sort of subtle like Christmas like Easter eggs in Phil Spencer's sort of videos. They were like, people were pointing stuff out, going, "Oh, look, this is stuff about Kojima here."
Well, that's where it started, because he was on a video. I can't remember. It was a while ago now. It's been going for a few months, and on his shelves. I mean, there's no teasers on my shelf, just anime figures, unfortunately. But on his shelf, he had like the Xbox, like the Nexus, as it's called, the Xbox logo, and a figurine of Ludens, the Kojima Productions like mascot character, and people were like, "What does this mean?" And then like my lookalike Jeff Grubb came out and said it was they were looking into some kind of partnership, and it kind of, I can't remember if this was before or after, but it was out there that Kojima was supposed to be working with Stadia, and he'd said like publicly before that he was interested in like making a game in the cloud. And then it kind of came out that he was working with Stadia, so I guess that's sort of putting 2 and 2 together. And obviously Stadia is not doing any of that anymore. They basically decided they didn't want to make games anymore because it's too hard. Now they're just going to focus on signing up games that are already being made. So obviously that deal didn't go anywhere. So the suggestion is that he's gone to Microsoft to make it instead. And the news that came out recently was Jeff Grubb saying that they've signed a letter of intent. So it's kind of, the deal is all but done. But obviously it's still extremely early. The game isn't being made at this point. They're just kind of coming to terms like for a publishing agreement.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's been out there for a while.
Kojima Studios, a lot of people had this misconception because he made the Death Stranding, which was a PS4 exclusive until it got released on PC. A lot of people thought Kojima Productions was a PlayStation studio, but it wasn't. They're not exclusively to PC. They just financed that game so it could be brought out on PlayStation. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't like a first party.
Yeah. It's an independent studio. Yeah. That game is a first party game because Sony owns the IP, but they don't own the studio.
Yeah, but that's what a lot of people thought. They were like, no, it can't be. Can't make anything for Xbox because it's owned by the studio is owned by PlayStation. But no, a lot of people thought of that. Just they didn't think that it was only the IP they owned, not the studio. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's caused a lot of. I wouldn't say controversy. A lot of people are butthurt.
Consternation.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, but hey man, Kojima can do what he wants. If he wants to just make a PlayStation game or Xbox game or PC game, or even because he was going to make a Stadia
Engage game.
Yeah, it's up to him, man. He could do what he wants. If if someone's willing to finance it, then like let's face it, like Xbox have been doing this. They've been doing the money thing, like for this generation. So Kojima's notorious of going over budget and spending a lot. He likes high production. He likes getting Hollywood actors. So that's not cheap, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're going to make a Kojima game, it's going to need to be backed by someone with a lot of money, even if is willing to throw the money at it.
Even if the game sold well, I don't know if it broke even because it's still a lot of money, that he spent on the game. So you got to have deep pockets, man. If you want Kojima, you got to be willing to pay top dollar because he will be wanting the very best talent, best voice actors, best motion capture because he doesn't just get their voices; he obviously brings them into the game. So Xbox has that, Microsoft have that money, so why not?
I mean, it's probably at least 3 years away at this point, so
it's early days.
If it's worth getting excited / upset for yet.
It's early days.
Wait and see what happens. I mean, they might start working together and realize they just can't for whatever reason, and it might end up going nowhere. But on the other hand, it might get a really good game out of it. So it's just a wait and see, really.
Speaking of games, man, now we've done all the news. I don't think there's anything else, is there?
Not that I can think of.
In the world,
we do great preparation for this. We look at nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, like if we were like a sort of like a semi-competent podcast, a lot of podcasts have like behind the scenes people who like sort of fact check.
Yeah, we don't have a producer.
They like who do the notes and then give it to us, and we will have like the notes of like what's been going on in the world, and they can also like go on Google and check this out. We don't do that, man. We just have to rely on ourselves. But
just be like, all right, let me just
we sort of
look up news.
This is how we work. We sort of just go. We meet.
We wing it.
We sort of before we record our podcast, we're just like, how you been? Anything been happening in the world? Oh, I don't know. Like we just go, that I think that happened. This happened, but we don't really look into it.
Let's not talk into it too much because we might say something that would be good in the podcast.
Yeah,
but no, we do. If you've ever watched our channel, you should get a sense that we kind of wing it at this point because just kind of we start recording and we just see
who knows, man. Like in the future, we might become a semi-competent. We might hire an intern to be our
unpaid intern.
Exactly. To be our producer.
We're not made of money.
Yeah, to do our preparation for us. But anyway, the main topic of this podcast is obviously E3. We're quite behind, obviously, with the podcast. It was about, how long ago was it? About
3 weeks ago. I
3 weeks
think.
ago, yeah. We did a podcast on what we wanted, what we were hoping for, but now we're sort of discussing what we got. So the outcome, the aftermath of E3. So, Mr. Ross, did you watch any of E3? I know you're away. So
Well, I was in Devon when it all happened, so I kind of missed most of it. And place we were staying had Wi-Fi, but it was very, very bad Wi-Fi. It was like 2 megabits per second and constantly fluctuating. And I couldn't get like data on my phone because it was kind of in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, so I didn't actually see any of it live. So I had to sort of come back a few days later and just try and catch up. So I've watched the Xbox conference and I've watched bits and pieces of other stuff. So you're going to have to lead on this, I'm afraid.
oh God, no, not me. Yeah, I did a live watch along on our Twitch channel of just the Xbox showcase. Yeah, a lot of new games. Another criticism of Xbox is that they tend to just show pre-rendered trailers. They don't show much gameplay. It's obviously that's kind of they did that. A lot of flashy trailers, not enough substance in there. But I think one of the main highlights for E3 was we actually got some gameplay for Elder Ring. So that came out. Did you see that?
That was a couple of days before Jeff Keighley's thing, wasn't it? I think I saw it, but
it was on Summerfest or something, wasn't it?
It was like 2 days before or something.
Yeah. So yeah, fuck that. That's
fuck you, Jeff.
Yeah. So there,
trying to split our attention.
How could you have two events, one after and one before the other? Like you had that Summerfest.
Let's be real though, Summer Games Fest was awful.
Yeah,
the only good thing, literally the only good thing about it was Elden Ring. That was the only big game there.
But yeah, so going back to E3, still, it was just a digital one. No one can go to E3 this year. Probably it'll open up next year. But
the first joint Xbox and Bethesda one. What did you think about
that? Like when I was doing the watch along, yeah, it was good. It was just maybe I got such high. I always go in with these high expectations about, because Xbox have acquired a lot of talent, and obviously we haven't seen the fruits of the fruits of it yet. So we've not got the gameplays or anything like that of the games that they've got in development. So you had, obviously there was the Halo trailer, which was meant to be released, but now they pushed it back so they can work on it a bit more. Yeah, it looked good. It looked good. I don't know if they got rid of. You remember the dude, the Asian guy who was with Chief? Have they got rid of him? Is he like?
Oh, the pilot.
Yeah, the pilot. Is he going to be in it?
I think.
Is he Hispanic?
I think so.
Oh, he had an accent, man. That's all I knew. But yeah, they had like a Cortana sort of esque AI, Cortana Light. So
Nutana.
Yeah. So I was like, oh right. But the story, like it just. I don't know if they're just going to brush over what's happened with Cortana. I don't know. Like from what the sounds of it sounds like she's already dead in the game. They deleted her or something. Yeah. So hopefully they don't just sort of.
I don't know. Like the trailer they showed, was it 2019, where the pilot salvages Chief.
Yeah.
And then he looks out and like the ring's all broken. There's just like scenes of a battle. And he's like, "We lost, Chief." Apparently that's the beginning of the game. So it literally starts there after some big battle that we never see. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of, I'm a bit wary of where it's going to go and how it's going to sort of paper over what's happened between then and 5, because it seems to kind of start in media res a bit.
Yeah.
Hoping we get some flashbacks at least to tell us what's happened. But yeah, they just showed a really short teaser for the campaign, which I think
The multiplayer as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they showed quite a lot for the multiplayer, and I think if they hadn't shown as much as they did for the MP, people would have been really pissed off again because the campaign teaser was quite short, and I think there was kind of a narrative building where it was like it looked like the worst thing ever last year, so now they have to go do a big campaign blowout and show everything, which I didn't necessarily agree with. I mean, it didn't look like the worst thing ever last year. It looked like a fun game that was still in development to me. But I've said that before anyway. But I think if they hadn't done, they did quite a decent blowout on the multiplayer, and then they did a stream for it a couple of days later as well, where they went into a bit more detail. And I think if they hadn't done that, people probably would have complained about the shortness of the campaign teaser. But I just want to play the damn game now. I just don't really want to know anymore. Just give me the game.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about opening up the showcase with Starfield? That seemed quite bold to me.
Yeah, that was a pretty ballsy move. Again, there wasn't no gameplay. It was just a pre-rendered.
Well, it was in game
trailer.
apparently.
Oh, was it in game?
Yeah, it said in game. So it was.
Well, if it's
I
in
assume
game,
that means it's real time.
If it's in game, it looks pretty fucking good, man. Because I honestly thought it was a pre-made cut, like a CGI trailer. But if it's in game, yeah, that's good. That's gonna look pretty fucking. What kind of game engine is it using? Is it using a new game engine?
Well, it's Creation Engine 2, apparently.
Right.
This is the thing. Like, people went nuts after. It's like, oh, they've been working on this game for years, and all we get is a pre-rendered trailer. And if you actually watch the trailer, the first thing it says is in-game footage.
See,
people just missed it.
Yeah, like myself, man. Like I missed it as well. But if that is the case, then yeah, it looks fucking good, man.
So I assume what they've done is basically just like directed a trailer with that in-game assets and got it running in real time. So that's what the game's going to look like, more or less. That'll be a good-looking Bethesda game.
I'm intrigued. Anything to do like an RPG in space, I'm down for it, man. Like I love like Mass Effect. I still, again, like the Bethesda Xbox showcase. You have Outer Worlds 2, which is an exclusive to Xbox now because they own the studio. So that's going to be good. I still got to get around to play Outer Worlds 1.
Good game.
It's on Game Pass, so I should play it. It's just like all my stuff is digital now. I think that I've only got one. I know you gave me a birthday present that was for the Xbox. Was that the Xbox One? Was that for the Series X? I don't know. Either way.
I can't even remember what I bought you now, to be honest.
Tales of Bethesda, Tales of Vesperia.
Oh, Tales of Vesperia.
Yeah.
I got you Dragon Quest 11 as well.
Yeah.
PS4.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, 2 games, man. Oh no, we probably won't play them for a fucking year.
We'll sit on the shelf.
But yeah,
still in the cellophane.
I still I've decided to go more digital this generation. So my I need to get another external hard drive to download all my games on there. With so many options on Game Pass, you know, like I still need to get around to playing Outer Worlds. But yeah, Outer Worlds 2 is coming out. But yeah, Starfield. Everyone was talking it's not going to be Xbox exclusive. And the first at the end it was like Xbox exclusive. So let's put that rumor to bed. Of course, it was going to come out and it's going to be an Xbox exclusive. They own the studio, and that's why the reason why they bought it. That's the whole reason why, to expand their Game Pass catalog and to make it more value for money. So obviously, that was going to be an Xbox exclusive. But yeah,
as we've said many times, you don't spend $7.5 billion to keep making games for your competitors. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think Bethesda, they teased. What did they? No, they didn't tease anything, did they? We're waiting for an Elder Scrolls. We all know it's going to come, but even like they had like a something, I don't know, like a 2 second or like a 10-second sort of someone walking in a forest or something, and you just said Elder Scrolls,
6.
That would be good because
they did that in 2018, so they probably couldn't do it again.
Yeah, probably not.
Well, they could have at least done is like given us a clue of where it's set. I mean, everyone thinks it's set in Hammerfell anyway, where the Red Guard come from. But it's going to be years away because obviously the team that would make it is still making Starfield at this point. And we have a date for that now anyway. That's going out next November, so it'll be after that they start working on Elder Scrolls 6, so it's going to be at least probably 3-4 years away from this point.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's still a fair way away, but the Xbox is going to be a hell of a machine for RPGs.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got Starfield, you've got Outer Worlds 2, you're going to have Avowed, also from Obsidian.
Fable.
They didn't show any more of Fable from Playground. Elder Scrolls 6 eventually, and whatever In Exile's doing. In Exile was supposed to be making a big AAA game in Unreal Engine 5. But this is the thing, they announced quite a lot at this E3, and they still have teams that we don't know what they're doing. Like, we don't know what In Exile's doing, we don't know what Compulsion are doing, we don't know what a few of the Bethesda studios are doing. There's still quite a lot out there that they can announce. And then there's stuff that they announced last year that they didn't show this year as well. Like, they didn't show any more of Avowed, they didn't show any more Hellblade 2.
Or
didn't show anything of
Perfect Dark.
Yeah, Perfect Dark or Fable. So there's a lot. There's a lot in the pipeline, and they're still announcing new stuff. And then obviously at the end of the showcase, they announced a new game from Arcane as well, Redfall. So I kind of liked how they.
Is that vampire game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pre-rendered cutscene.
Yeah, that one was pre-rendered. Yeah. But I kind of like how they bookended the show with Bethesda stuff. So they opened it with Starfield and closed it with Redfall. That kind of felt pretty good for sort of the narrative of now Bethesda is part of Xbox, which a lot of people are still struggling to deal with, really.
Well, shit. If it was the other way around, it wouldn't be a question. It wouldn't be a problem. So a lot of last gen, it was they were buying, well, not buying studios. They were buying. They were stopping games coming to Xbox. No one said anything. They were timed exclusives or exclusive deals with this particular IP.
So they're doing it this gen as well. They've done it with like the PS5 version of FF7 remakes just come out, and that's timed exclusive. Final Fantasy 16's timed exclusive. Forspoken is apparently a I don't know if that's timed. I think that's fully exclusive. And then this is another announcement that was at E3 actually. The Final Fantasy meme game, Stranger of Paradise, is it?
Oh, that one. Yeah, it's supposed to be like a remake of number 1 or something.
Yeah, it's like some kind of prequel to Final Fantasy 1 or something. And it's just everyone's there to kill chaos, apparently, is the meme. That didn't look great. But that was rumored before it was announced, and it was rumored it was a fully exclusive, but that one actually isn't. But yeah, I suppose we can go on to Square Enix, because they had a showcase as well, and it apparently wasn't very good. If you watched any of it. I saw bits of it.
I saw bits of it. It's this a lot of people complain that this year's E3 wasn't very good, and there's always who won E3. And obviously Xbox, even though they showed a lot of people still didn't say they won it. Again, I think people thought Nintendo won it because they showed some Mario games, and what else did they show? They showed like a new Metroid game, but it's not actually Metroid Prime. It's some other sort of spin-off from Metroid. Oh, they showed some Breath of the Wild too.
Very, very short trailer.
Very short trailer. But yeah, they showed like, was it Mario Party or something like that? You can play online now or something. I think that was it. Was that it? It was a Mario game.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't really pay attention to Mario games, if I'm honest.
And that new Metroid game, but it's not Metroid Prime, not the new Metroid Prime. It's just a spin-off Metroid. And people are like, oh my god, that's great.
That one is kind of borderline E3 winner for me, because back when Metroid Prime 1 came out, I don't know if it was Metroid Prime 1, one of the Metroid Prime games, they teased what everyone assumed they were teasing, a new 2D Metroid, and there was like references to Metroid Dread in it, and this was like back in 2002, somewhere between 2002 and 2007, because I can't remember which Metroid Prime game it was in. It might have been in Metroid Prime 3, but people have been like half expecting a Metroid Dread announcement for over a decade at this point, and then they actually did it. Like, everyone just assumed it was dead, never happening, and then that comes out and like Metroid Dread, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!"
But was it just a title, or did it show gameplay?
They show gameplay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I have it here. Yeah, so they put this out a while back on 3DS, Metroid Samus Returns, which is a remake of Metroid 2 on the Game Boy. But it's made by Mercury Steam, the people that did like the reasonably recent Castlevania games on the 360 and the PS3. And that is a really good game, Mitch, like Samus Returns. And I was watching the trailer for Metroid Dread. I was like, this has to be a Mercury Steam game. It looks so much like Samus Returns. And it is. So I'm quite pleased about that because I really like Samus Returns. Good game. But yeah, that's the only things I remember from Nintendo stuff. I say I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched bits, but I saw that and I saw the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, which didn't really do anything for me, if I'm honest. Still no Bayonetta 3. Where the hell is Bayonetta 3?
Yeah,
it's been missing in action for ages.
Speaking of Square Enix, let's go back to Square Enix. There's another game that they announced. It was a Marvel game. It is a Marvel game, which is Guardians of the Galaxy, which is going to be a single player game, but you only play as Star-Lord, I think.
Which nobody expected after the Marvel, after the Avengers game. Everyone was like, "Oh, the Guardians of the Galaxy game," because that's been rumored for a while as well.
Yeah,
people are like, "Oh, that's going to be the same as the bloody Avengers game and should be a crappy live service game."
Luke grind.
But I think I think it looks quite good.
Yeah,
I think it actually looks decent.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a single player story game, so it should be good. I just hope like Square Enix are not becoming like the new E3, the new EA, you know, where they're just sort of releasing these sort of big like, because obviously EA had the Star Wars license for a while. That's run out now, so other studios can do it, but they were just producing like one or two games, and they were very sort of like what's the word I'm looking for?
Predatory.
Yeah, they were just. It was just like loot boxes and stuff like that. That's all it was, like pay to win and like gambling and stuff on there. It was very much about just like buy loot boxes for skin cosmetics and skins, and obviously like Square Enix have done that with the Avengers. So I was thinking, oh no, it's like, are they going to start doing this with all Marvel games, similar to how EA did it? But it's so far, what I've seen looks pretty good. It's a single player game, a story. So
yeah, it looks fun to me.
Yeah, it looks fun. I mean, like don't get me wrong, EA, like they near the end they produced some good Star Wars games, obviously, like Fallen Order
and Squadrons. Some actual single player stuff, which is realistically, you get a Star Wars game, people are going to want like something like Fallen Order, not really something like Battlefield. More often than not. I mean, obviously the Battlefield game's been around for years anyway, so it's kind of building off of that. But you want like a big adventure where you're planet hopping with a crew of people, and I think Fallen Order probably gave them a bit of a shock. So you get the feeling they didn't expect it to do much, and I think that sold like 20 million copies or something. It's mad.
It sold a lot, yeah. And obviously,
absolutely brilliant game as well.
It gets a lot
which helps.
It gets a lot. It's only been out for a while, but it's got a lot of like sort of re-releases, obviously, on new hardware and stuff like that. So
I recently got patched for the new console, didn't I? I need to go and see.
Well, you can like. They're selling the game as a like sort of PS5, Xbox Series X game as well. So yeah, but yeah, that's pretty good. But now they've lost that license, so other studios can make it. And getting a bit off topic, I'm quite looking forward to the. Well, I don't know if I'm sort of interested in the Knights of the Republic remake that's meant to be happening. Because like with Final Fantasy, I think it doesn't really need a remake. I think it's good enough as it is. Scared of what they will do to it. Because with the Final Fantasy, like they've it's not a remake really, is it? It's like a retelling. It's like obviously like no spoilers, but it does go off into some different
reimagining, really.
yeah.
Which I'd be fine. I'd be completely fine with that if they actually did it well, but they did it poorly, in my opinion.
Well, like the Intergrade is meant to be pretty good, and that's added some new story elements to the original game. But obviously, you can't get that on the old. You have to pay for the upgrade, don't you? On the old, if you own the old the game on the old system.
I think it's free
for PS4.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that one is free. But so it's kind of hard to tell because Sony's really inconsistent with this stuff. Like they just announced the upgrade for Ghost of Tsushima, and you got to pay for that, like $10 or something.
Wow.
So they're charging for some, and I mean, obviously, like Final Fantasy VII Remake is Square's game, but the situation on PS5 seems a bit confused, really. But yeah, it feels like Guardians of the Galaxy aside, Square Enix had kind of a bad E3 because they announced new versions of like Final Fantasy 1 to 6, I think, pixel remakes or something. Because like the ones that are already up on Steam, people hate because the artwork is terrible, and now they're doing pixel remakes. And if you own the old versions, you don't get them for free. You have to just buy the game again. So people aren't happy about that. And then they showed off more of Babylon's Fall from Platinum, which has kind of been in the works for a few years, and people are quite excited about. And then they showed it again this E3, and nobody's excited about it anymore because it looks terrible.
Doesn't look great, does it?
That kind of pains me to say because I love Platinum's games, but it looked bad. It seems to be some kind of like game as a service thing as well, which nobody wants from Platinum.
Yeah, I mean, Platinum games are known for their single player, aren't they? And their high quality of graphics, great gameplay. That's what the people want, not sort of live service, which works for some games, but it doesn't work for like a studio like Platinum.
That's the thing. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and rail against games as a service because I play some of them, but it's not really what you want from a studio like Platinum. And the graphics looked a bit strangely sort of like pastel colored or something. Yeah. So it's weird. I can't really explain it. It looks bad, unfortunately. And between that and Bayonetta being a no-show at Nintendo's conference, people are a bit worried about Platinum now. So they've apparently got like 5 games on the go.
Bit of burnout. Burnout culture.
A bit off more than they can chew, maybe.
I mean, like it happens in the West, so it obviously happens in Japan because that country's known for like pushing their staff to breaking point. You know, not just in the game industry, just in
general.
In general, they burn them out a lot, so it's a bit worrying. Not just like business and anime and everything really. They need to sort of sort out their working practices. But Ubisoft had if I'm looking over here, it's because I'm doing my own sort of like production, sort of producing. I got my phone open. I was like, "This. Who else was there?" Ubisoft was there, and they announced. I didn't see the Ubisoft showcase, but
I haven't seen any of it. But I do know they announced an Avatar game.
Avatar, that's it. Yeah, and fuck. Is it like a movie tie-in game or something? Because I know old James Cameron's releasing like 5 of them. He's working on them all at this moment. I mean, like, I don't rate Avatar as a film. I'm sorry, I don't think it's a great film. I watched it.
It's a very pretty film. But
I was watching it. I was just like, it's not that good, man. Remember when it first came out? This was years ago, man. When did that come out? Like 2007,
2009 or something.
Years ago. And it was like, oh wow, you've got to see this film, man. It's so great. And I was like, okay, I'll see it. I'll see it. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty. I mean, the
visuals are incredible. Visuals, still,
the CGI are like is fantastic, but the film itself, I was just like, yes, okay.
It's Last of the Mohicans with blue people, really.
Yeah, like Dances with Wolves and shit and stuff like that. Basically about like the poor indigenous like tree huggers get cut down by these foreign invaders, who industrial people who not in one with nature and stuff like, which is a good message, but it's been told before
It's been done to death,
and better. I think so.
Go and watch Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, or like any like sort of Dances with Wolves and stuff like that, man. Like, or even like Fern Gully. Remember Fern Gully? Do you remember that?
Gully.
Yeah, that's about like
that's a deep cut.
That's a deep one, man. Like Fern Gully is better, man. A bunch of fairies living in the rainforest, man, trying to save their homes. That's a deeper story. That's a better story than
Avatar.
Avatar, yeah.
I haven't seen the trailer though. Have you seen the trailer for it?
I seen the trailer. Yeah, it looks okay, man. I mean,
it's just not a world you care about.
I don't give a shit. So when they announced that, I was like, oh,
yeah, that's one that's been in development for years as well. And that was I don't know if it was announced or it was just known about, but it's been known about for a good few years. And I think the suggestion was that it's like been rebooted a number of times because it's been in development for years. But from what I read about it, it seems to be it takes place in the same like timeline as the film, but on a different part of the planet or something. I don't know. Didn't read too far into it because I don't really care about Avatar.
No. Well, I mean,
but what else did Ubisoft have? Did they have anything else?
There's a lot of like not much. There's like, from what I can see here, they had a Far Cry 6 Battle Pass was revealed. Great. Mario and Rabbids.
Oh yeah, that strategy game.
That strategy game. It's Nintendo and Ubisoft has done.
Stand Rabbids. They hate me so much.
Yeah, that and Assassin's Creed Valhalla DLC. I mean, if you like Valhalla, I haven't played Assassin's Creed since the second game. I've just sort of just lost interest with it. So I knew with Ubisoft they'll do what they're doing now, just release one every year or every other year.
Backed off of that a little bit in the last few, but honestly, you should play. If you're going to play any of them, you should play Origins and Odyssey because they are genuinely good games.
Too long.
They're basically RPGs.
Yeah, I know, but I don't have the time to just like play a 40-hour game. Like each one is like 40 to 50 hours. It's like, oh man, once it become an RPG, just let me just play as an assassin and just like be able to kill anyone, not having to like grind and level up to be able to assassinate like a pig or something. So yeah, like no, it's not. I mean, I got Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It's still in its box, not been open. I might give that game.
Don't open it.
No, it's not good. It's the one set.
I don't really like it.
The one set in London, right?
Yeah, I was really excited for it because I was quite a big Assassin's Creed fan at that point, and all I wanted was a game set in London. So when they announced that, I was like, yes, brilliant. And then I played 6 hours of it and just stopped playing it. And then I started it again like 2 years ago to play through it so I could play through the newer ones, and I don't like it at all.
I mean,
it's just it's the peak of that. Well, not the peak. It's the nadir of that type of Assassin's Creed. Just all the little niggles that you've had for years up to that point are just amplified in that game, and it just didn't like it very much at all.
I think they just like the Desmond storyline is just dead now. It's I don't know what they're doing.
That died with Desmond in Assassin's Creed 3 back in, what was that, 2011 or something.
Spoilers, man. Jesus.
Well, it's like 10 years ago now.
Yeah. It's about, this is what the Ubisoft do. They get a good IP and then they run it into the ground, man. I mean, you got Far Cry 6 or 7 coming out now.
6,
set in some like place
fictional
like Cuba. So another one where you have to fight, like take on a villain, join factions. Same.
I mean, they are effectively the same game.
It's the same thing again and again. So like I think like since Far Cry 3, when they found that winning formula, they've replicated it each time. So they have a wacky villain with lots of charisma.
I mean,
And
going back to Far Cry 3, that was the point at which you could just look at their games and go, okay, so this one's Assassin's Creed, this one's Assassin's Creed with guns, this one's Assassin's Creed with hacking. And they were literally pretty much the same game, just either a change in perspective or a change in like technology.
yeah, so no, it's not. And then Watch Dogs, which hasn't done very well, but they're still making sequels for that. What was the one set in London? What was that?
Legion.
That was Legion. So that like that's not a mainline sequel, or is that just a spin-off? It is. So it's number 3 then. Okay, so yeah, that's that, and then they're going to run that into the ground, and then they'll leave that for a couple of years, and then they'll have a. Like,
I'll tell you what though, the London in Legion is very cool. Like,
yeah,
very early into the game, you end up in Camden. You're like, this is actually Camden.
I'll go for a pint in the World's End.
It's literally Camden. Like, the shops haven't got the same names, and the pubs haven't got the same names, but it's Camden. It's like, it was eerie.
Have you got loads?
Obviously, sorry, go on.
Have you got loads of like immigrant like drug dealers there trying to sell you shitty weed? That is you walking down the street.
The true experience.
Do you want speed, weed, crack? Oh,
but it's eerie because like there are games set in London every now and then, but like it's generally like City of London. So you don't see places you're intimately familiar with. You see places like you've been through. And like nobody's ever going to put Croydon in a game, but Camden is a place I know very well, and I've spent a lot of time in the last like 20 years or whatever. So seeing that in a game like almost 1-to-1 was just weird. It's very, very strange. Mm-hmm. Just sort of like being able to walk around like you know the place because you do know the place. It was very odd, but very cool.
Yeah, but that's not enough to get me to play it, man. It's like, I don't really give a shit. Like Ubisoft in general, I don't really care for them. They release like an IP that has a lot of potential. I mean, that Skull and Bones, I don't know what's happening with that. Probably going to be canned because there's nothing from it.
They've taken it back to the drawing board, haven't they? So announced recently they completely rebooted it.
So yeah, that's probably going to be secretly killed off. So they're just going to keep. They'll run those 3 franchises into the ground, which they already have, and
they won't bring back Splinter Cell. Damn it!
No, they've got Assassin's Creed, man. So they don't really need Splinter Cell. They don't need another stealth game.
They got Ghost Recon Wildlands. They don't need another techie stealth game.
So yeah, but yeah, the E3. Anything else that you can think of that was? This E3 was kind of like bit underwhelming, wasn't it?
I think the Microsoft showcase was actually pretty good. Mm-hmm. Could have been better, but I think it was pretty good. And I'm excited about Metroid Dread. And I think Guardians of the Galaxy looks like it could be a fun time. Other than that, I don't think there's a great deal. I mean, there is one game we haven't talked about, which was kind of one of the games of E3 for a lot of people. Forza Horizon 5, which also got announced at the Microsoft show. That, like visually, that looks nuts.
It looks fantastic.
I tried to watch like a YouTube clip of it on my phone when I was in Devon. And I was just like, okay, yeah, it's Forza Horizon. And I came back and watched it on like a decent connection on my TV in 4K. I was like, what the? It looks insane.
Forza always sort of make.
They're always good-looking games.
Good-looking, yeah.
But this one is a step above. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
And it makes me excited to see what they can do with Fable, because obviously their second studio is working on that and using the same technology. So that is going to be a looker.
Yeah. I'm like, I wonder if they're going to keep the sort of Monty Python that very sort of British humor. But it's not like it's British humor, but it's British humor like I'd say 20 years ago. If that makes sense, because obviously our humor has evolved, but they sort of kept that's like the sort of 80s 70s humor,
irreverent.
Yeah, I mean, which is good, because like I like watching the sort of like classic like sitcoms and comedies, but it's very much of its time. I wonder if it's going to be more, because our humor is like more what would you say British humor is? It's very dry and sarcastic and self-deprecating. We love to shit on ourselves. We like we don't mind making fun of ourselves, like when we say,
but we do mind other people making fun of us.
Yeah, I mean, we do it to ourselves, so we don't need other people doing it to us. Ours is always done with a tongue in cheek, and people actually do it with just to be dicks. But we always take it on the chin, man. Like, I mean, like, Britain's always been known for having good humor, and we, unlike America, don't sort of run our shows into the ground. And like, America will take a good show and then.
Man, I wish we did. Imagine if we got more of Spaced.
Yeah, but they knew when to end it. If America did that, it'll still be going, man. It'll be like 10, 15 seasons, and it'll just
like The Simpsons.
Yeah, it'd be running to the ground.
Nobody cares anymore.
Like, it's like we know when to stop. It's like with The Office, The In-Betweeners, and like Spaced and stuff like that, Black Books and IT Crowd. We know. Even the Peep Show. That Peep Show
went for enough.
Peep Show went for 10 years, but 10 seasons, 10 series. But there was only 6 episodes in the season, and they were quite short as well. But they know when to stop. They're just like, we can't go any further. This is it. Americans do tend to sort of make 26 episodes a season, and like
12 seasons.
Hour long ones. And I was like, wait, a lot of it just like the humor starts to sort of fall to the wayside. But
I mean, you can even see it in something beloved like Friends. Like, the characters started to get increasingly irrational and crazy in the last few seasons of that.
Yeah. I mean, they
started becoming parodies of themselves.
I mean, how long can you keep like a show about 6 friends who live in New York, relevant and funny and fresh? It's just can't do it. And that Rachel and Ross romance thing is just. I always think, anime like romances get on my. I love them, but I'm just like, why can't you just tell them what you feel? Come on, and they always wait until the last episode till they get together, and that's how, and Friends did exactly the same thing. It was an on and off thing, and then obviously they like each other, but it's just like, just get together, and they get together in the last like 10 minutes. So this is just so like an anime. Which is
we heard it here first, folks. Friends is an anime.
Yeah, it kind of is. They were like, it's like you had the wacky friends, and like the character personalities got more wacky, didn't they? Like,
they did, yeah. They
all right.
Let's become parodies.
This is nothing to do with E3, but yeah, Monica became like this intolerable, like
neurotic nutcase.
She's like a busybody. She had like some really strange OCDs and stuff like that. She's not a very good friend. I'm like, who the fuck wants to be friends with this person? And then Chandler just became like he even became he was like a running joke at one point, wasn't he? He used to be the funny one, but then he became like as soon as he got with Monica, she sort of crushed him. And then Joey just became this Lafargia, like that just became like a joke that like he's womanizing, and he just became more and more stupid. And who was the other one? Phoebe just became like she became more wacky because she was always kooky, but she became more and more eccentric. So, but anyway,
Ross going on about his rage all the time.
Yeah, he's rage.
His frigging sandwich. Get over the sandwich, Ross.
Yeah, and when they're on the break, and the thing is, he didn't have much of a personality to begin with, so they had to find a quirk for him. So what can he find? He's like the straight man, but then they just said, let's just make him angry, and the divorce guy. So I was like,
and
okay.
Bad at the keyboard.
Yeah. But anyway, enough about Friends.
And how it's an anime.
Yeah, we're gonna do our anime podcast soon and an anime video. Don't worry, that's still in the works, man. We do like our anime, and we will do our anime lists and stuff like that, and all that. But getting back to E3 overall, what would you give it out of 10 if you had to rate it? What would you say?
Given that I didn't see most of it and I kind of had to catch up with a lot of it after the fact, I don't know, maybe a 6. It was decent. I think the Microsoft showcase was good. It was well paced. There was a lot of stuff in there. It could have done with more gameplay. Like going back to Redfall for a second, that's meant to be out like next spring, summer, I think. So it's probably less than a year away at this point, and they just showed a CGI trailer, so they probably could have showed some gameplay for that. They could have showed more of the Halo campaign, really, but I mean, that's going to be out in a few months. But I think it was a good show overall. And then sort of other showcases, like I say, like Metroid Prime has me very excited. Not Prime, Dread. Metroid Dread has me very excited. Guardians of the Galaxy looks like it'll be a fun time. So there was some good stuff announced that I like the look of. So I think it was decent overall from what I saw.
Cool. All right, so you give it a 6.
Seems fair.
I would probably give it like 6.5, 6.5, just purely because of the Xbox the Xbox showcase was, and the Bethesda one was the main one out of all of them. They had the most to show. So I think that was pretty good. They showed quite a lot. Not as much as I would like, but they still got so much in the tank, so to speak. So that was good, but the rest of it wasn't as. A lot of it was kind of like the Capcom one. I think, was there a Capcom one? There was Namco Bankai one. There was one that I don't know what they showed there. Nothing. I think probably just talked about stuff. But yeah, so yeah, 6.5. I'll give it that half. So we're not giving it the same score. So yeah,
I do kind of feel like if you don't follow Xbox, then it was probably a terrible E3.
Yeah.
Outside of like maybe Metroid Dread and a very short look at Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
It's like Sony didn't turn up at all. Nintendo's show seemed fairly low key other than those two things. Square Enix was pretty bad by the looks of it, with like Strangers in Paradise and Babylon's Fall both looking bad. So yeah, I think if you don't follow Xbox, it probably wasn't that great. But we do, so thought it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is just our personal score. So, I mean, let us know how people rated it. In like, if you're watching this on YouTube, let us know in the comments. If you're watching this on Spotify, I don't think there's any way for you to comment. Just, but
come on over to YouTube and tell us.
Yeah. So yeah, let us know. But okay. Let's talk about like what we got planned for the channel, and what if there's if anything, what are we looking for? What are you're planning to do? Like, got any ideas or got any videos coming up?
Well, I've got to pull my finger out because I haven't made any videos in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I feel I did record.
My shoulders hurt from carrying this whole thing on my own. So,
yeah, I recorded a couple of short videos before we recorded this podcast, so they'll probably go up this week.
Do you want
to
tell us what they are? I just should people tune in to see?
I'll leave a sense of mystery. But I did like 2 quick looks for a couple of games. One of which is on Game Pass as part of our Exploring Game Pass series, and the other one just a quick look. It's not on Game Pass, but it's an old Xbox exclusive, we'll say. So check out our YouTube over the next week or so. They'll either both go up this week, or one this week and one next week. I'm also, I was planning on doing this today, but I just didn't find the time. But I've been meaning to do kind of a long play, I guess, of the Psychonauts VR game. Apparently it's only like an hour and a half, 2 hours long, so I was just going to do it as a one-shot let's play. Psychonauts 2 is coming out next month, and I get the feeling a lot of people haven't seen the VR game, which kind of bridges the gap between the two. So I thought maybe I'll get that up there so that people can watch that if they want to see what it was all about. I didn't get a chance to do it this week, so maybe I'll do that next week, if not the week after. And like I say, I haven't decided if it's going to be just like a small, like say 3-4 part let's play, or if it's just going to be a one-shot video. I haven't decided yet, but I'll figure that out as I go. But yeah, a couple of videos coming up for me over this week and maybe the next week, so check out the channel for those.
Yeah,
what about you, Paul?
I still got to finish the Battlefield 2 Let's Play. I don't know if you're watching in the videos. I'm getting a bit like frustrated with it. It's not the campaign. It looks good, but the gameplay is
It
just
does look
shit.
good. The gameplay is literally like a multiplayer game, but
Yeah,
with some
yeah,
bits like
yeah. A lot of
what's the
people
word I'm looking for?
stapled onto it.
Mm.
I remember a lot of people complained about the gameplay of the single player. It's not great.
It's just it doesn't
Yeah,
play very well as a
yeah,
single player game. It probably
it's
works
not.
fine for multiplayer, but it's just
Yeah,
it doesn't feel great.
no, it does. I'm just like, oh, this is what the hell is this? A lot of times I'm getting frustrated with it, and I'm just like, fuck this game. But I am getting through it. So yeah, continue watching me suffer if you want to watch me suffer and lose my temper.
It's lucky it's a very
This
short
is
game.
yeah. I think I'm
The
near
story
the.
and the cutscenes are decent, and it's short, so it's about all it has going for it.
I mean, I wouldn't go as far as saying that the story's decent. I would think it's mediocre. Like saying it's decent is doing is giving it too much props. It's a proper afterthought. It was just like I don't think the characters are bland. The stories like is just a typical I'm evil and now this one thing has turned me to a good guy, to a good person, showed me the light. So there's no character building in it.
It's set in an interesting like time in
It's
the
set.
universe. It's just a shame they
It's
didn't do more with it.
set during the rebellion, which is the peak of like Star Wars. Because let's face it, prequels, sequels, that period not as interesting. I mean, like the prequels films are not as good, but the Star Wars Clone Wars is meant to be really good. Like I haven't watched it, but I've been meaning to watch it. That's meant to be good, but
It's on Disney Plus.
yeah, but so much on Disney Plus. But yeah, it's just like the Galactic War is the best story out of all three films. And speaking of Star Wars, before like this is going off on another little trick story, there's rumors of like people that the current films are going to be not remade, but there's going to be a new set of films which sort of resets they forget about those films. It's basically they're going to reboot the series from and forget about the last three films and start over again. Really, they're going to get like the people who made the Mandalorian are going to be the ones who are behind it, because obviously the Mandalorian's got such a good writing.
Just let them do something new. Don't bother like rebooting the storyline that's already there and taking it a different direction. Just make something new. Like the Mandalorian is something new. That's half the reason it's good, because it's not tied to anything else other than the Clone Wars a little bit.
The thing is with the, like you said this before, the sequel series is just the status quo again. It's just the Empire versus
Galactic reset.
Yeah, it's just the same thing again. It is just the New Hope and Return of the Jedi retold. I always said that they should have had like a new set of Jedi. Like it's still like a fledgling New Republic, and the New Order, the New Jedi Order are just sort of like there's only a handful of them, so they're all sort of learning their way through. You could have had like a group of young Jedi, like sort of like being sent to missions and uncover something, and like just something like that. Just like show some sort of like friends together, like new Jedi like working their way through the new galaxy and stuff like that, and then a threat comes out that way. Not just have it like no Jedi. The New Order is basically the Empire, and we have a bunch of the resistance is just the rebellion. So it's just so it could have done something. You could have had like Luke as the Grand Master sending out these new like Jedi out to missions, and obviously you could have had Kylo Ren there, like the guy who's cocky, who feels like the weight of the Skywalker legacy on his shoulders. He could have gone bad, obviously. Like you could have had Rey and Finn as the Jedi.
It would have been better to actually see Kylo Ren start off like that and go bad. It would have been. It would have actually worked better.
He could have been like the he could have been like the guy training them, sort of thing. You know, as the that they look up to him, they idolize him, and then they find out he has flaws and he's angry and he's always like having to like prove himself to his uncle and stuff like that, and or to other people because he's obviously like related to him.
But the long and short of it, they should have done something new instead of doing the same thing again.
Yeah,
and that's why I don't think they should reboot this story. Just it's done now. It's finished. The Skywalker saga is over. Make something new, please. Just do something new. Go to a different part of the galaxy if you have to.
But
completely new characters.
If Disney, if you listen to this podcast, just give me a shout, man. I'll write these ideas down, and you can have like a sort of like George R. Martin sort of brief notes.
Yours for $1 billion.
Yeah, so how it should have gone. But yeah, that's it, man. Like got this.
I'm not even sure how we got onto that.
Oh, it's about the Battlefront, wasn't it? So I just sort of I was like, oh god, it's just set in that sort of world again. The new Galactic War and stuff. But
yeah, you need to finish your Battlefront Let's Play. I'll hopefully be doing one of the Psychonauts VR game soon.
Yeah,
so we've got stuff coming.
And I've been a lot of my time is on the Twitch channel. I find myself doing a lot more streaming than making YouTube videos. But yeah, just come and watch that. I am planning to stream different games because at the moment I'm sort of stuck on Apex, Mass Effect sort of thing. I was doing Skyrim, but that's sort of been. I do plan to go back, not to do a full Let's Play. It's just going to be like doing adventures and stuff because that world you can just get lost in. So yeah, watch for that. I might do a Resident Evil Village stream of that soon. So yeah, there's some things to look forward to on Twitch, YouTube, and anything else we have on our podcast, obviously. But this podcast, I'm planning to set it up on all the back library on iTunes and Google Play and all that. So if you want to listen to it on those platforms, that it will be done. It's just it's more of like a sort of convoluted process to put our podcasts on iTunes than it is on Spotify. Spotify, you can just click one thing and it connects and it'll just automatically upload. With iTunes is a bit more of an elaborate sort of setup, and Google Play. But yeah, I am planning to do that. So yeah, I want this podcast to reach as many people as possible. Not just YouTube and Spotify. But yeah, that's been our podcast. It's been a long one, I think. So yeah, I think we're going to leave it there. Yeah, make sure to check out our social medias, our Twitter, our Instagram, our Tumblr, and other things. But
and smoke signals.
Yeah, I mean, like I was even planning to. I was like, should I do a TikTok? But I was like, TikTok seems. I don't know what it is about it, man.
Can you dance?
I don't know what. All I see is young girls dancing on there. So I'm just like, I don't really. I'm just getting old, man. I just don't understand it. So yeah. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. Remember, Game with Chums podcast, where we talk about video games and other nerdy things. That's our new. Not a catchphrase. Our new tagline. You know, like.
Or is this because I didn't have a beer today? Are we changing the motto now?
No, just for the podcast. It's a Game with Chums podcast where we talk about video games and other nerdy things. I couldn't think of a way to add drinking on there, but but yeah. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys. It's we might have another podcast coming out the following week just to catch up, to make up for the last week we missed one. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you again. Say bye-bye, Mr. Ross.
Bye.